Have you ever thought about the complex series of movements and muscle contractions that go into something as simple as eating a sandwich? Well, today we will be breaking down the anatomy behind this everyday action. First, at the shoulder girdle, we have scapular elevation. When lifting our arms to bring the sandwich to our mouth, this movement is primarily driven by the upper and middle trapezius, levator scapulae, and rhomboid muscles, which all contract concentrically. We also see scapular upward rotation during this movement. Scapular upward rotation is made possible by the serratus anterior and all parts of the trapezius working concentrically. Protraction of the scapula is also happening during this movement. Protraction is made possible by the pectoralis minor along with the serratus anterior working concentrically. Now we're going to focus on the shoulder joint. When we lift the sandwich to our mouth, we're using shoulder flexion, which is powered by the concentric contraction of the anterior deltoid, clavicular portion of the pectoralis major, and the coracobrachialis muscles. In this position, notice that our arms are slightly abducted. This involves the anterior and middle portions of the deltoid along with the supraspinatus working concentrically to maintain the sandwich's position. As we move down the arm, we look at the elbow joint. The elbow is flexing to bring the sandwich to the mouth. This is the work of the biceps brachii, brachialis, and the brachioradialis muscles working concentrically. Looking at the forearm, notice that there is subtle forearm supination. This is achieved by the biceps brachii and supinator muscles working concentrically, turning the sandwich towards us for optimal consumption. Continuing to move down the arm, we see that there is slight radial deviation occurring at the wrist. This is made possible by the flexor carpi radialis working concentrically to bring the sandwich towards the mouth. In this video, notice how our wrists are in a flexed position. This is maintained by the flexor carpi radialis along with the palmaris longus working concentrically. In this photo here, we can see that there is slight finger abduction. This is held by the dorsal interossi working at the MCP joint of the fingers, as well as the abductor digiti minimi working at the pinky or the fifth finger, isometrically. Looking at this photo, we can see that the MCP, PIP, and DIP joints of the fingers are experiencing flexion. This is created by the isometric contraction of the flexor digitorum superficialis as well as the flexor digitorum profundus. Looking at the CMC joint of the thumb, we notice that there is abduction occurring. This is made possible by the isometric contraction of the abductor pollicis longus as well as the abductor pollicis brevis. Finally, we look at the flexion of the thumb IP and MCP joints to grip the bottom side of the sandwich. This is made possible by the flexor pollicis longus as well as the flexor pollicis brevis. This is an isometric contraction as well. For many, enjoying a sandwich is a simple pleasure, but for individuals living with a boutonniere deformity, this everyday action can present very unique challenges. Let's talk a little bit about how this condition can impact hand function and explore some adaptive strategies. A boutonniere deformity is explained as extension of the MCP joint, flexion of the PIP joint, and extension of the DIP joint. These joint misalignments directly affect the muscles and tendons responsible for finger movement and grip. This loss of grip strength can make simple tasks like holding a sandwich incredibly frustrating. Maintaining control of food becomes a challenge and often leads to spills and messes. Individuals with a boutonniere deformity can learn to adapt by utilizing their palms to hold objects. While this offers more stability than using the fingers alone, it lacks precision of a natural grip. Thankfully, we have assistive devices such as finger splints that can provide much needed support and improve hand function. This helps realign the joints and enable a more natural grip for greater control. Living with a boutonniere deformity may require some adjustments, but with a lot of determination, adaptive strategies, and the right tools, everyone can experience the joy of savoring a simple sandwich. I bet you've never thought about eating a sandwich this deeply, but there you have it, the anatomical orchestra behind enjoying one of our favorite meals.